Hey, welcome back to All About That Disney Life. I am Danny B, the girl who is all about that Disney life. We now move on to The Lion King, which came out in 1994. So let's get to know this amazing cast. Matthew Broderick was the talking voice of adult Simba, while Joseph Williams was the singing voice for adult Simba. Jonathan Taylor Thomas was the voice for young Simba, while Jason Weaver was the singing voice for young Simba. Jeremy Irons was Scar. James Earl Jones was Mufasa. Moira Kelly was Nala. Nikita Kami was young Nala. And Laura Williams provided the singing voice for young Nala. Nathan Lane was Timon. Ernie Sabella was Pumbaa. Robert Gulamu was Rafiki. Rowan Atkinson was Zazu. Madge Sinclair was Sarabi. Whoopi Goldberg was Shenzi. Cheech Marin was Banzi. Jim Cummings was Ed the Mole and some singing parts in the Be Prepared song. And Zoe Leader was Serafina, that's Nala's mom. Now we move on to the facts all about the little cub who just couldn't wait to be king. Number 1, the development. The origin has different sides as to how this idea for The Lion King came about. One opinion is that Charlie Fink went to Jeffrey Katzenberg, Roy E. Disney, and Peter Schneider with a Bambi in Africa idea, but with lions. Katzenberg told Fink and his writers to develop a way to explain how lions service other animals when they eat the other animals. Another opinion is that the idea came from a conversation between Katzenberg, Roy E. Disney, and Schneider on a flight to Europe during a promotional tour. The topic of a story set in Africa came up, and Katzenberg liked the idea. He added elements like the coming of age and death and ideas from his own personal life experiences. On October 11th, 1988, Thomas Disch met with Fink and Roy E. Disney to talk about the idea, and within a month he wrote a 9-page treatment called King of the Kalahari. Throughout 1989, several Disney staff writers wrote treatments for the project. Jenny Tripp's treatment introduced the name Simba for the main character. Her version of a story idea was that he gets separated from his pride and is adopted by Kwashi, a baboon, and Mabu, a mongoose, and he's raised by a family of baboons. Fink and J.T. Allen made several trips to a Los Angeles zoo to observe animal behavior. Allen finished the script, which was called The Lion King, on January 19, 1990. Fink and Katzenberg and Roy E. Disney thought that his script could improve with a more experienced writer, so Ronald Bass was brought in. Bass was too busy to rewrite the script himself, but he supervised the changes. Allen and Bass finished, and it was renamed, now hold on to your hats, it was renamed to King of the Beasts. I'm going to let you process that. Yeah, my exact thoughts are going through my head as to why would you change the title. But that script was handed in and was finished on May 23rd, 1990. Number 2, different ideas. Linda Wolverton spent a year writing several drafts of the script, which was called King of the Beasts, and then it got changed to King of the Jungle. Okay? It centered around on a battle between lions and baboons, with Scar being the leader of the baboons. Rafiki was going to be a cheetah, and Timon and Pumbaa were going to be Simba's childhood friends. In October of 1991, several of the lead crew members visited Hell's Gate National Park in Kenya in order to study and gain appreciation of the environment for the movie. Don Hahn found the script unfocused and lacking a clear theme. Well, clearly, look at all the titles we've had. Once a theme was decided, which was leaving childhood and facing up to the realities of the world, Hahn asked for a final retool. A definite idea was having Mufasa return as a ghost. Rafiki was changed from a serious court advisor into a wacky shaman. The title was changed from King of the Jungle to Back to the Lion King because the setting was in a savanna. You shouldn't have changed it in the first place. Writers made the decision to make Mufasa and Scar brothers because they felt it would be more interesting if the threat came from inside the family. Michael Eisner felt the story could be more Shakespearean, so he suggested modeling the story after King Lear. Also, the story was representing a little bit of Hamlet. But that felt too forced, and the writers were looking for other heroic archetypes, such as the stories of Joseph and Moses from the Bible. The Lion King was the first Disney animated feature to be an original story rather than be based on pre-existing works and characters. Number 3, the release. The Lion King had a limited release in the United States on June 15th, 1994. It played in only 2 theaters. the EI Capitan Theater in Los Angeles, and the Radio City Music Hall in New York City. When it was being played at the Radio City Music Hall, it was featuring live shows with ticket prices up to only $30. The wide release followed on June 24th, 1994 in 2,550 screens. Number 4, the box office. This movie made $422.8 million in North America and $545.7 million in other territories. After its initial run, it earned $763.5 million. It ranked as the highest grossing animated film of all time at the time. This was also the highest grossing film of Walt Disney Animation Studios at the time. This was also the highest grossing film of 1994. In September of 1994, Disney pulled the film from movie theaters and announced that it would be re-released during Thanksgiving in order to take advantage of the holiday season. Internationally, the movie made $455.8 million during its initial run for a worldwide total of $763.5 million. It also has record openings in Sweden and Denmark. Number 5, the awards. At the Academy Awards, Lion King won for Best Original Score, and Can You Feel the Love Tonight won for Best Original Song. At the American Music Awards, Lion King won for Top Soundtrack. At the Annie Awards, Lion King won for Best Animated Feature. It also won Best Achievement in Story Contribution, and Jeremy Irons won for Best Achievement in Voice Acting. At the Artios Awards, The Lion King won for Animated Voice-Over Casting. At the ASCAP Film and Television Music Awards, The Lion King won for Top Box Office Films, and Can You Feel the Love Tonight won for Most Performed Song from Motion Pictures. At the BAFTA Interactive Awards, The Lion King DVD won. At the Chicago Film Critics Association Awards, The Lion King won for Best Original Score. At the Dallas-Fort Worth Film Critics Association Awards, The Lion King won for Best Animated Film. At the Golden Globe Awards, The Lion King won for Best Motion Picture for a Musical or Comedy. It won for Best Original Score for a Motion Picture. And Can You Feel the Love Tonight won for Best Original Song for a Motion Picture. At the Golden Reel Awards, it won for Best Sound Editing for an Animated Feature, and it won for Best Sound Editing for Music. At the Grammy Awards, Can You Feel the Love Tonight won for Best Male Pop Vocal Performance. It won for Best Musical Album for Children. It won for Best Spoken Word Album for Children, and The Circle of Life won for Best Instrumental Arrangement with Accompanying Vocals. At the Kansas City Film Critics Circle Awards, The Lion King won for Best Animated Film. At the Los Angeles Film Critics Association Awards, The Lion King won for Best Animation. At the National Film Preservation Board, The Lion King has been inducted in the National Film Registry. At the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, The Lion King won for Favorite Movie. At the Online Film and Television Association Awards, The Lion King has been inducted in the Hall of Fame for Motion Pictures, and The Circle of Life has been inducted in the Hall of Fame for Songs. At the Satellite Awards, The Lion King won for Outstanding Youth DVD. At the Turkish Film Critics Association Awards, The Lion King took 16th place for Best Foreign Film. At the Young Artist Awards, The Lion King won for Best Family Motion Picture for a Comedy or Musical. Jason Weaver won for Best Performance by a Youth Actor in a Voiceover for a TV or for a movie. And Laura Williams won for Best Performance by a Youth Actress in a Voiceover for TV or for a movie. Number 6, the Broadway musical. Yes, we got another Disney musical. Walt Disney Theatrical produced a musical stage version that premiered in Minneapolis, Minnesota on July 8th, 1997 at the Orpheum Theater. It premiered on Broadway at the New Amsterdam Theater on October 15th, 1997 in many previews, with the official opening on November 13th, 1997. It features songs from both the movie and Rhythm of the Pride Lands, along with 3 new compositions by Elton John and Tim Rice. To celebrate the African culture background of the story, there are 6 indigenous African languages sung and spoken throughout the show. The Lion King musical has won 6 Tony Awards, and it is still running to this day at the Minskoff Theater. The Lion King musical is the 3rd longest running show and highest grossing Broadway production in Broadway history. Number 7, the live show, and I'm talking about Festival of the Lion King. At Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World, it was at an enclosed theater at Camp Mickey Minnie from 1988 to 2014. During the show, all the guests would sit in 4 sections. You'd have the warthogs, the elephants, the giraffes, and the lions. The 4 animal floats were provided from the Lion King Celebration Parade that ran at Disneyland. The show is hosted by 4 performers dressed in costumes inspired by traditional African attire. It's not like the movie, but it's a show of songs from the movie and other sources. This is combined with acrobatics performed by the Tumble Monkeys. The show closed on January 6, 2014 to make way for Pandora, the world of Avatar. It reopened on June 1st, 2014 in the Africa section of the park in a similar theater. The Festival of the Lion King is also seen at Hong Kong Disneyland. It's featured in a theater in the Wild and Adventureland. It's similar seating like at Animal Kingdom, but it's been arranged to a simplified version of the story of the Lion King along with the songs in the movie. It's mainly in English, but 2 actors dressed as monkeys summarize and translate Rafiki's lines into Cantonese in order to accommodate guests who don't speak English. The show is presented to Simba by Rafiki as a retelling of Simba's life. Number 8, the attraction. It's called Rafiki's Planet Watch, and it's at Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World. Guests board the Wildlife Express train for the short trip to and from the land. It consists of 3 distinct areas. The first section is called Habitat, where guests can see cotton-top tamarins and learn about the efforts to protect these endangered primates in their natural habitats. The second section is called the Conservation Station. It highlights the various conservation efforts supported by the Walt Disney Company. It also gives behind-the-scenes glimpses into Disney's Animal Kingdom animal care facilities, including a veterinary examination room, complete with a 2-way communication system so the veterinarian staff can answer guest questions. The last section is called Affection Section. It's a petting zoo which has goats, sheep, and other domesticated animals. Number 9, where can we find these characters at the Disney parks? Well, sit back and relax. We got another list in. Here we go. We'll start off with Scar. At Disneyland in World of Color, Scar can be briefly seen in the water projectors and heard vocally throughout a sequence based on the wildebeest stampede from the film. At Walt Disney World, Scar plays a role in Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. In Adventureland, Scar returns from the dead by Hades and is given a proposition to live forever in exchange for the crystal of the Magic Kingdom. Scar tricks the hyenas into believing he is invincible and forces them to work for him again. However, the park guests prove that Scar lied by injuring him in front of the hyenas, prompting them to leave their former boss. Scar consoles Hades for more power, but Hades refuses and leaves the lion to battle the park guests alone. Scar is defeated, but a recovered piece of the crystal imbues him with magic, allowing him to take on the guests once again. Scar is once again defeated, however, saving the kingdom from his wrath. Scar appears as one of the main villains in the live nighttime spectacular Fantasmic. In this show, Scar is called forth by the Evil Queen to destroy Mickey Mouse once and for all. In the end, Scar is killed by Mickey along with the other villains. His only line was, "Yes, perfect." In Happily Ever After, Scar is one of the villains featured during the Adversity segment. He is seen battling Simba on Pride Rock as it is engulfed in flames. Scar's likeness is also featured in Disney's Art of Animation Resort. At Hong Kong Disneyland, Scar appears as one of Maleficent's invited guests during the climactic projection montage of Villains Night Out. At Shanghai Disneyland, Scar appears in the Shanghai Resort's production of the Lion King stage musical. On the Disney Cruise Line aboard the Disney Dream, Scar and the hyenas are featured in Villains Tonight as some of the villains that assist Hades in retaining ownership of the underworld. Their motive in the show resembles that of a biker gang. Next character is Mufasa. In the World of Color at Disney's California Adventure, Mufasa is seen during the Lion King segment, which highlights the wildebeest stampede and his demise. At Walt Disney World, Mufasa is also mentioned by Scar during an exchange with Hades in Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. In the Magic Kingdom's nighttime spectacular Happily Ever After, Mufasa's spirit appears as the introduction of the Go the Distance sequence. Mufasa's likeness is also featured at Disney's Art of Animation Resort. At Hong Kong Disneyland, Mufasa's face can also be spotted in the park's version of It's a Small World in the Africa section of the ride, along with Simba, Timon, and Pumbaa. At Shanghai Disneyland, Mufasa appears in the on-property Mandarin production of the Lion King stage musical. In the park itself, he makes an appearance during Simba's segment in Ignite the Magic. Next character is Simba. At Disneyland, Simba makes a cameo in It's a Small World and can be seen as an audio animatronic atop float for Mickey's Sensational Parade. In Disney's California Adventure, Simba makes appearances in various renditions of World of Color. In the standard version, he is seen reliving the wildebeest stampede from the movie and can also be seen during the finale. At Walt Disney World, Simba appears in Disney's Hollywood Studios Fantasmic during the bubble montage of Disney film and characters. At Magic Kingdom's Mickey's Filler Magic, he is seen singing I Just Can't Wait to Be King. Also, at Once Upon a Time, Simba briefly appears alongside Pumbaa and Timon during Mrs. Potts' opening narration. He also appears in the Hakuna Matata segment of Happily Ever After. Simba has his own spell card called Simba's Roar at the attraction Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. Simba is also a prominent character for Disney's Animal Kingdom merchandise and promotional material. Also in the parks, Simba stars in Festival of the Lion King hosted by Timon. Simba and other characters from The Lion King are also featured in Disney's Art of Animation Resort at Walt Disney World. At Disneyland Paris, an animatronic of Simba as a cub appears in the main park's daytime parade, Disney Stars on Parade, on the jungle-themed unit. At Shanghai Disneyland, Simba makes a notable appearance during an early segment themed after The Lion King in Ignite the Dream. This segment goes through Simba's birth during Circle of Life, his childhood through I Just Can't Wait to Be King, up until his eventual young adulthood during Hakuna Matata. Simba also appears on the resort's property's rendition of the Lion King musical stage play. Next character are the hyenas. To date, their most reliable presence has been as part of the Walt Disney World's Resort annual Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween event. The hyenas appear along Scar in Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. Here, Hades revives Scar from the dead and recruits him in a takeover plot. Scar, needing henchmen to assist him, convinces the hyenas that he is invincible through magic and must obey his commands. They reluctantly agree to do so and are ordered to start an elephant stampede to crush anyone who interferes. Benzie notices the park guests and battles them, but he is quickly defeated. Soon after, the park guests must reveal Scar's lies by injuring him in front of the hyenas. Once Scar's lies are revealed, Shenzi gathers the clan and departs, leaving Scar without aid. Next character is Timon. At Disneyland, Timon makes daily appearances at Disney's California Adventures live show Disney Junior Dance Party representing the Lion Guard. At Walt Disney World, at Disney's Animal Kingdom, Timon appears in Mickey's Jingle Jungle Parade during Christmas time. He can also be found in the Oasis for meet and greets. In Festival of the Lion King, Timon is the host and tells tales of the Lion King. In the show, Timon, along with Simba and Pumbaa, host a series of songs and stunts, accompanied by a pack of monkeys who perform different stunts and tricks and are a pain in the neck, according to Timon. In Fantasmic, Timon appears during the bubble montage in Disney's Hollywood Studios. In the Epcot show Circle of Life, an environmental fable, Timon and Pumbaa are planning on building a Hakuna Matata Lakeside Village Resort in the jungle by damming the river and draining a nearby watering hole. This prompts Simba to show them another species whose actions have affected the environment for the worse, humans. It is mentioned there that Timon does not like profanity, as when Pumbaa uses the word damn as an exclamation, Timon mistakes it for a profane heterograph and tells him to watch his language. In Once Upon a Time at Magic Kingdom, Timon briefly appears alongside Simba and Pumbaa during Mrs. Potts' opening narration. In Happily Ever After, Timon along with Pumbaa appear briefly during the Hakuna Matata scene. At Shanghai Disneyland, Timon makes meet and greet appearances in the park, is featured in the resort's production of the Lion King musical, and also makes an appearance during Ignite the Dream. On the Disney Cruise Line, Timon and Pumbaa are featured on the Disney Fantasy Cruise ship Wishes, about 3 high school graduates who meet various Disney characters on their biggest adventure ever. Timon and Pumbaa are the first of the characters to be introduced and sing Hakuna Matata to teach the kids to loosen up and be carefree where they can. Next character is Rafiki. At Walt Disney World, he hosts the Rafiki's Planet Watch area of Disney's Animal Kingdom, an area that hosts various conservation education programs and the park's veterinary facilities. One of the various shows inside the pavilion has Rafiki profiling different endangered species and telling guests how they can help them. In Disney's Hollywood Studios version of Fantasmic, he replaces King Louie in the jungle sequence. In Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, Rafiki notices a disturbance in the Circle of Life when he is informed that Scar has been revived from the dead by Hades. He also has his own spell card called Rafiki's Wisdom Stick. At Tokyo Disney Resort, in the Tokyo Disney Sea version of Fantasmic, Rafiki arrives after the jungle mash and highlights the Circle of Life. At Disneyland Paris, in a portrayal heavily influenced by his Broadway incarnation, Rafiki appears in Mickey and the Magician at the Walt Disney Studios Park, where he assists Mickey on a quest to become a magician. On the Disney Cruise Line, Rafiki can be seen in Disney Believe aboard the Disney Dream cruise ship. Rafiki is one of the magic makers to help a nervous father believe in magic. Rafiki is seen right after Grandmother Willow's sequence and uses the mystery of the animal kingdom to aid Sophia's father, Dr. Greenway's imagination. Like in the Broadway version of The Lion King, Rafiki is portrayed by a woman. Next character is Pumbaa. At Disneyland, Pumbaa was also one of the characters that had a lot named for him at the Disneyland parking lot until the remains of the Lion King section of the lot were closed for Disney California Adventure expansion space. In It's a Small World, Pumbaa makes a cameo appearance. At Walt Disney World, Pumbaa and Timon serve as mascots for park safety at the Florida resort. In Festival of the Lion King, Pumbaa appears along with Simba and Timon. Unlike Timon, Pumbaa stays on his float like Simba. In the Epcot show Circle of Life, an environmental fable, Pumbaa and Timon are planning to build a resort that will involve the destruction of the jungle in which they inhabit. Luckily, Simba enlightens Pumbaa and Timon on how dangerous it is to destroy the environment and how it is important to take care of it. At Disney's Hollywood Studios version of Fantasmic, a clip of Pumbaa appears in the bubble montage along with Simba, Nala, Timon, and Zazu. Pumbaa also has his own spell card in the attraction Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom called Pumbaa's Odorous Gas. In Once Upon a Time at Magic Kingdom, Pumbaa briefly appears alongside Simba and Timon during Mrs. Potts' opening narration. In Happily Ever After, Pumbaa along with Timon briefly appears during the Hakuna Matata scene. At Tokyo Disney Resort in Fantasmic at Tokyo Disney Sea in the jungle scene with Simba, Baloo, and King Louie like an inflatable figure upon his own float. He also serves as the representative for the Year of the Boar. On Shanghai Disneyland's resort property, Pumbaa appears in the rendition of the Lion King musical. He also performs Hakuna Matata alongside Simba and Timon during Ignite the Dream. On the Disney Cruise Line in Wishes aboard the Disney Fantasy Cruise Ship, Pumbaa and Timon appear as the first Disney characters. The three high school graduates, Brandon and Nicole, and their best bud, Kayla, meet while on their journey. The duo also performs Hakuna Matata. Next character is Nala. At Walt Disney World at Disney's Hollywood Studios version of Fantasmic, Nala can be seen with Simba and Zazu during the bubble montage. Nala is also prominently featured at Disney's Art of Animation Resort. Next character is Zazu. At Disneyland, Zazu takes part in the jungle-themed unit in Mickey's Sensational Parade. At Magic Kingdom, a former show called The Enchanted Tiki Room under new management starred Zazu and Iago from Aladdin as audio animatronics. Also in the park, Zazu makes a cameo in Mickey's Filler Magic during Simba's I Just Can't Wait to Be King sequence. His likeness is also featured at Disney's Art of Animation Resort at Walt Disney World. At Disneyland Paris, Zazu is featured in the Legend of the Lion King stage show in Disneyland Paris, where he reluctantly assists Timon and Pumbaa in creating a reenactment of the film in honor of Simba. He was also in Disney's Once Upon a Dream Parade as part of the jungle-themed floats decor. A statue of Zazu can be seen in the Adventureland area in the jungle section next to the statue of Ka. At Hong Kong Disneyland in the Hong Kong Park, Zazu is featured in the Flights of Fantasy Parade. And at Shanghai Disneyland, Zazu appears during the performance of I Just Can't Wait to Be King in Ignite the Dreams fireworks show. And there you have it, all the facts about the Lion King. If you like this video, please hit that like button and don't forget to leave a comment down below and don't forget to subscribe. And I hope you have a zippity-doo-dah day. Goodbye.